Question 5 is the first one that you've seen where you have to come up with the percent yield here. Percent yield is obviously in this category, and so I've started this equation assuming you could get the balanced chemical equation, and I filled in a couple molar masses. There's 25 grams of iron 3-phosphate, and I'm at the step now where I have to identify what am I looking for. So what's required is the percent yield of the thing that I recovered 18.5 grams of. Most most students are going to want to put 18.5 grams as the mass after, because I recovered 18.5 grams of iron 3-sulfate. We're going to assume that I began with no iron sulfate and it was made here. The question also says that I have excess. Okay, so I don't need to worry about anything here because I have more than I need. And so we go to finish and we go, okay, well, this looks like an easy question. I just need to use this 18.5 to figure out here, so that will be an equation, right? That's an equation. Equation 1, percent yield is equal to, well, I don't really have an equation, but it's just like a test. If you got 28 on a test out of 30, you'd have a very high percentage. If you got 28 on a test that was out of 100, not such a good percent. Well, we know we got 18.5 grams, but we don't know what it's out of. I don't know what I could have got. And so the thing that trips you up is that you've placed an actual value here when this whole table is talking about theory. In theory, all 25 grams react with exactly the right amount of this to produce some amount of this and give us 100% yield. What could I get in a perfect world? But as soon as I write this 18.5 in, that all falls apart because I don't know. Could I make 18.5? Could I make 100 grams? Could I make 27.4? I don't know. And so what I'd recommend you do is not put this in there. You're correct. That is the mass after. We just don't want to put it there. What I want to call that is the actual mass that I recovered, 18.5. Because what's the percent yield? Well, just like a test, it's your actual mark divided by the theoretical 100% test. Sorry, there's only one L. I don't know why I did that. I just liked writing it. Theoretical 100%. So that's just in brackets. You don't have to write that. You can just write theoretical. That's my formula. If I knew what I actually got, which I do, 18.5, divided by what I could have got if I got perfect, well, that's going to be my actual one. So let's figure this out. So I actually need to find this out first, then I can find out my percent yield. Well, we know how to do that. If I want to get to here, I need to know that one. If I want to get to this one, I need to know that one. If I want to get to there, comes from here, that comes from here, that comes from there. So let's do a little bit of figuring. If I have 25 grams, I can figure out the moles by doing, now this is number 2 just because I've already written number 1. You could do it as number 1. The moles is equal to the mass divided by the molar mass, which is equal to 25 grams divided by 150.82. You might have more digits. I have an app on my Mac here that lets me do it. It's kind of cool. Right here, I just type in a formula, H2O, oops, I need a capital H, and it tells me what the results are. So mine's slightly different than yours, but that's okay. Let's take a look. 25 divided by 150.82. I get 0.16576051. I'm just going to put 0.1658 just because that's what fits nicely, but we know we're using this number here. Well, if that's what I have before, and this reaction will continue until either this or this runs out, well, this one we're told there's more than we need, so this must run out, which means all of it gets used so that there is nothing after. That's the number I'm going to use. I multiply by the mole ratio, which is the box I'm going to, which is 1, divided by the box I came from, which is 2, multiplied by a half, times 0.5, and I get 0.08288.025, if you want to know. If I start with nothing, I make this amount during the reaction. That means that I end up with that exact amount. If I have that many moles after and I want the mass, well, that's an equation, number 3. It's getting a little messy in there. The mass is equal to the moles times the molar mass. So it's 0.08288.025 times 303.84 times 303.84. I get 25.18. I think I did something wrong here, because I've got 33 grams up there. What did I do wrong? Clear. 0.08288 times 303.84. Okay, maybe that's not the right molar mass. Fe2SO43. Ah, there we go. 399.91. I apologize. 399.91, which means that's incorrect. Oh dear. Undo. It's a messy video. See? We all make mistakes. No problem. 399.91, and erase that. Now let's try it. 0.08288 times 399.91. There we go. I get 33.1445 grams. This is what I could get. 33.145. Sorry, 1445. That's what I could get. This is what I actually got. So what did I get? I got 18.5 out of a possible 33.1445. And to two significant figures, because 25 grams is 2, 18.5 divided by 33.1445, 55 and change, rounded to 56%. So what is my theoretical, or what is my percent yield? It's 56, because I could have got 33 point something. I only collected 18.5. And that makes perfect sense, because there could be side reactions. Maybe I didn't wait long enough. Maybe I had a spill. Maybe some of it got sucked through the filter paper and I lost it. There's many different reasons. I should never get 100% yield. We know that now from doing all our measurements. We're not perfect. Sometimes you'll get over 100%. So I shouldn't get that. I might get 104% or 114% or something crazy. I might get 78. I might get 56. Two things to remember. This is not the same as a mark on a test. Don't lie. This is not necessarily better. There might be other reactions happening here. Maybe 62% is the best you could ever get in your whole life, even if you did it perfect, because there's other things happening here, or that's all you could collect, or that's as accurate as your things went. So that kind of, this part here, most kids are comfortable except they want to cheat and get higher. Don't, because it doesn't necessarily mean it's better. And two, this is impossible. There's no bonus questions here. There's no bonus matter in your beaker. But what might happen is if you have to weigh it, if this is aqueous, maybe it's wet. Maybe what you're weighing and calling Fe2SO43, iron 3 sulfate, is really iron 3 sulfate with a bunch of water on it. Water has mass, so it's higher than. That tells you probably didn't do a very good procedure. You didn't violate any laws. So that's how you would do a percent yield one. And the key here is to make sure that's theoretical. Theoretical. Right? Theoretical. Don't put your 18.5 in there, because that's a real value. You want to find out in real, in theoretical terms, what's 100%.